Good afternoon, Ellis. This is Mr. Burton, and I'm joined today with Jamie Gable, our school nurse. We wanted to take this opportunity to share with you a little bit of information about student health in relationship to when a student should come to school or when a student might get sent home from school based on symptoms that they might be showing. So I asked Jamie to join me today to kind of run through the spreadsheet that you're going to be receiving via email today, and maybe answer some questions that you might have. So first off, I'm gonna let Jamie talk about this spreadsheet and kind of when to send kids and when your student might be asked to be sent home and what we need to do. So Jamie, I'm gonna turn it over to you for a minute.
Okay, so this little flow chart was made actually last year. So basically, if your child is exhibiting two of the following symptoms in that first box, then they would either need to stay home, be sent home, or have parent guardian consent to test in school. Or if they just have one of the following symptoms in that second box, they would either need to stay home, be sent home, or have written consent for a COVID-19 test in school. You'll see fever in both boxes. That is because fever is just a standard protocol for a student to be sent home.
So Jamie, and I know we're going to look at it a little bit here in a minute. We do have the ability now to test in school, and we'll look at our test consent form. But I assume if parents also wanted to take them for a test at the clinic or with the county, they could do that as well, correct?
Correct. They can be tested anywhere that doctor's offices, health department, anywhere that's doing COVID-19 tests.
Okay. Well, before we look at that consent form, let's look at a little bit of the bottom of this flow chart. So what's this about? And this deals strictly with COVID, correct, on the bottom?
Yes. So if your child qualifies to either be sent home from school or you're keeping them home for those symptoms, they can return to school. So if they get a positive COVID test, they can return 10 days after symptoms started, and they have to be 24 hours fever-free without medicine, and their symptoms have to be significantly improved. So that's for if they went to the doctor and got a positive COVID test, or just got a positive COVID test from wherever you've taken them. If you get a negative COVID test, they have to be fever-free for 24 hours without medicine, and respiratory symptoms have improved, and a doctor's note approving their return. So if you do not want to have them COVID tested, or you take them to the doctor, and you'll see that at the bottom of that middle box, the doctor can provide a note indicating an alternative diagnosis. So no COVID test, they can return after 10 days of symptom onset, be fever-free without medicine, and symptoms have improved, or a doctor's note indicating an alternative diagnosis, such as strep throat or RSV, another illness that would be causing the symptoms from the boxes in the top.
Yeah, and I guess together we want to express with folks, we just have to be really careful right now with student safety and student health. We know there's of course, COVID out there, but we're really expecting this winter, for RSV to potentially pick up and for the flu to potentially pick up. So to try to keep our students as healthy as we can, we kind of got to follow these procedures, correct?
Correct. So if your child only has one symptom, say the only symptom is fever, we will work with that. They can return 24 hours after that resolution, as long as they don't have, you don't use any medicine. I know fever's in that one of the following boxes, but sometimes fever can be your only symptom and it's not COVID related. We still understand there's other illnesses out there. So.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this consent to test piece. We were granted the kind of a grant to help us with this process this year. So we have the ability to test students in school for COVID. If parents really want us to do that, correct?
Correct.
So I'll just click on that. So this is the form that we would have to have in order to test students, right?
Yes, that is the consent to COVID test in school. So we would need you to read through that, student's name, date of birth, and grade, and then you sign it as the parent. And then the second page, this form here will be submitted for every test that is performed to the health department, whether it's positive or negative. So as the parent guardian, you would need to fill out that section there that says patient information. The rest is for myself and the health department to fill out.
Well, and just a couple of questions I would have. So let's say my son Easton's a senior and he comes in and he's experiencing a couple symptoms. This is what I need to have on file with you before we could say, yes, go ahead and test Easton, correct?
Yes, yes. And just for my own practice, I would, even if I had this form on file, I would still reach out and discuss it with you. But then, you could say, yes, go ahead and test because you have it on file. But if I don't have one on file, then I could email it to you and have you get it completed and sent back.
Right, but if a parent wanted to be a little bit proactive, they could go ahead and send this into the office today, and we could keep it on file just in case we would need it sometime during the year.
Correct.
Now, the other question, and I gave you a heads up, I was going to ask you this because I know what's in our email that's going out too. Let's say I have a second grader that's in the same circumstance. Maybe they have a symptom or two and they need to be tested, and the parent would like to have them tested to see if they could stay in school. What would be the procedure for that?
So the same, we would need those consents signed, and then we would ask that a parent guardian be present for any testing done on the kids at Washington Grade School, so pre-K through sixth grade. Just because this can be a little traumatic for those smaller kids, and a more comforting presence with a parent would be ideal.
I guess I should ask, because a number of people have had COVID tests. Can you explain this particular test to us a little bit more?
Sure. So the tests that we have at school are the rapid antigen test. It will be a nasal swab. So it'll be swabbed in each side of the nostril, and then it takes 15 minutes to get results. So it's fairly quick.
And having had a few COVID tests, though, this is not the test where they go way up into your nose, correct? This is more, how would you just?
It's more about an inch, about mid nostril.
Okay, because I know that other one can be somewhat unpleasant to have, so.
Yes. So if the test is positive at school, we would send your kid home and quarantine for 10 days, and we would get direction from Ellis County Health. If it is negative, your student may stay in school depending on their symptoms and severity. And depending on those symptoms, we still may require you to go to the doctor for an alternative diagnosis. And then the existing school illness protocols will be in effect still.
Okay, well, thanks, Jamie, for joining me today, and we'll push this video out as part of our email trying to explain this. If folks have any questions, they can sure contact either one of us. You can contact me at the district office. My email is cburton@usd388.com. And probably the easiest way to get Jamie would be her email, and I'll let her tell everyone her email.
My email is jgabel@usd388.com.
And we would answer any of the questions you might have for us. Well, thanks again, Jamie, and we appreciate everybody tuning in and watching our short video here today.